Welcome, I'm Ron Corbin, Cottonwood City Manager, and we have another edition of Inside Cottonwood. And we're very fortunate today to have one of our outstanding employees, someone who's been with the organization a little while, here to help educate us. We have Marie Carpenter, our Communications Center Director. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to visit with us. So we are celebrating something. We're here for a reason, and that you told me is it is 911 Education Month.
Yes, it is. It is National 911 Education Month.
And what is that?
It is by proclamation. I believe it was President Clinton that issued the proclamation to educate the public on the use of 911. And since that date, so many things have changed as far as technology and the role of the dispatcher that it's important to get that information out on a regular basis, not just in April.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. We're going to get into it later today, but you know, some of the stuff we have going on in the city of Cottonwood and our dispatchers and our communication specialists is pretty exciting, not your normal stuff. But so before we get into talk too much about, I want to talk about what it means to be a dispatcher communication specialist, because we're always looking to hire a few, and I think it's a great way to be a first responder, to be part of the process without having to, if you don't want to be outside or if you don't want to put your hands on people, that's not for everybody. So critical role. So before we talk about that position, let's talk about the 911 system and why would you call 911?
Well, 911 is to report an emergency, either life, safety, health, property, conservation, or any kind of incident that is unstable or evolving, is really the definition of it. So a person who's having chest pain, a motor vehicle accident, a house fire, a in-progress criminal event, anything like that.
And dial 911, and here in the Verde Valley, you'll get your dispatch center there in Cottonwood, right?
For a majority of the Verde Valley, yes. If you call from a home phone, like a landline, a lot of those calls do come into the Cottonwood Center, excluding the city of Sedona and the town of Camp Verde. If you call from a wireless device, you're going to hit a sector of a tower that is routed to various centers throughout the Verde Valley, to include the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office and Cottonwood, and we do take a large portion of those as well.
But don't worry about it. Call 911, and then the call will get to the right person.
That is correct.
So we talked about if you're having an emergency, call 911. This time of year, what kinds of calls do you see? What are you thinking about? What are you training your folks on these days?
Right now, the weather is beautiful in the Verde Valley, and people are getting out and they're on the trails. They're camping, they're hiking, they're on side-by-sides and ATVs, horseback riding, and it is a great place to do that.
It is indeed.
Yes. Unfortunately, there are inherent risks with any activity, and when you're out on a hiking trail and take the wrong step, twist an ankle, need help getting out, the ATVs and side-by-side accidents, we're seeing an uptake in those. And we're also seeing a lot of just, we're out camping, not really familiar with the area, and we have an illness. How do we get help to these people? So the biggest problem we're encountering is the where. It's not the typical address.
Right.
It's the Forest Service road, it's the hiking trail, it's a GPS coordinate. It's really important to be able to identify your location to 911 so we can get help to you.
So what should a person not familiar with the area do to familiarize themselves? I mean, do they look for a road, a peak, or what would you advise someone to, because you want to be ready for an emergency. You'll never know when it happens.
Exactly. There are a lot of online resources, mapping, that you can refer to when you're going out to camp or hike or even, just take a horseback ride. You want to be familiar with where you're going. Let somebody know. You might be out in the forest with your cell phone and not be in a service area. Let somebody know where you're going. Pay attention to those Forest Service road signs. Pay attention to what direction you're headed. And if you do have a device with you, such as a GPS device or a smartphone that does have service where you are, take note of your location. There's a lot of great tools out there for mapping and location identification.
Yeah, I agree. You just never know. And it's a big, vast area out there.
It
We have a
is.
lot of open space in the Verde Valley between Sedona, Jerome, and Camp Verde. There's a lot of space.
There certainly is, and we've been covering quite a bit of it here lately.
Yeah. So you talked about the springed ankles, the turned over ATVs, side-by-sides. Any river calls? Do we get much going on in the river?
The weather's getting better, and we're getting in the water, and this is the place to do it. I know I enjoy very much going down the river in a raft or in a kayak, and you're just enjoying the time, and you're not really thinking about what would happen if I had an illness or an injury. So it's just so important. Pay attention to where you are. Make sure that everybody in your party is accounted for. There's a few little spots on the river. You know, you have to be careful. You could easily overturn, and an injury can happen. We've had a few where, you know, the kids were behind us. I don't see them now. We've got separated, and we need to find them, and we have to coordinate a number of resources, fire, police, medical, sheriff, to get folks located and then obviously treated for any injuries or illness. So it's important to keep track of your location.
Couldn't agree more. The river's not accessible at all points.
Not at all points,
And
no.
so know where you're at. And I guess I will shout out to our guides. So there are guides in Clarkdale, there are guides in Cottonwood, probably in Camp Verde as well. And if you're not familiar with this river, don't underestimate the impact and the speed and the danger of our river there. So
Yes, I do encourage people, before you get in the water, go online, look at the river gauges, look at the maps, look at the access points, and just be prepared. Really be prepared.
And wear your flotation devices.
Yes.
And wear your flotation devices. So we've talked about a couple of them. I think we're going to get ready to go on a break. When we come back, we want to talk about the one that the Verde Valley really cares about. And I think we're getting ready to come into fire season.
We are.
And so when we come back, we're going to talk a little more with Marie Carpenter, our Communication Center Director, about educating folks on 911 and the services that are provided by our experts on the phone. Again, Ron Corbin, Inside Cottonwood.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Need a ride to work in Sedona? Hop on the new Verde shuttle at the Cottonwood Library and ride to all the major employers in Sedona for just $2. It's just that easy. Looking to get back to work? Sedona has jobs and the Verde shuttle gets you there every 45 minutes. It's just that easy. Working late? The Verde shuttle runs until 10:30 and offers a free after-hours shuttle in Cottonwood. It's just that easy. Check out verdeshuttle.com for details or ask Google Maps for transit directions. It's just that easy.
Welcome back to Inside. We have a wonderful guest. We have Marie Carpenter, our Communication Center Director. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you, Ron.
So when we left, we were talking about educating folks on 911 and how to use it and when to use it. And we had just touched on the big one, which is fire season here in the Verde Valley. What do you have to say, or what advice do you have for folks when it comes to fire?
Our partners at the Forest Service have warned us that things look like they're going to start up a little earlier than usual. It's looking like it's going to start earlier in the southern part of the state and move its way north. And that was just a recent meeting we attended with all of the fire cooperators to provide that information. So we're ramping up for it. We're preparing for it. The information I want to get out to folks in this segment is, again, know your location, but just be careful. It is really dry out there. Don't drag chains. Don't park on grass with your vehicle. Don't throw cigarettes out the window. And if you're out camping, we all love a campfire when we're camping. Be careful. It's been windy. Don't let that thing get away from you. We've had a simple, harmless, I'm mowing my pasture through a spark, and we had a fire very close to homes. So we want to just be very cautious about what we're doing out there. And this is a gorgeous area. Let's take care of it, be safe. We've got a lot of people out there camping in the forest, and we're just in fire season. We just have to be careful. But if you do encounter something, don't try to put it out yourself. Call 911, get them started. Let us get some help over there right away. Don't put yourself in harm's way. Let the experts get in there and handle it.
We have several fire departments around here. We have our fire department, we have Verde Valley Fire, we have Copper Canyon Fire, we have Sedona Fire. There's people ready, trained to respond, and of course our National Forest Partners have their firefighters as well, ready to respond. And I know that they're already staffing up for this season. So
yes, they are.
Let's help them out and be responsible when it comes to camping and recreating out there. Now, we also will have a fire ban soon, so pay attention to that. When the fire ban comes out, then you'll be very limited on what kind of fire you can have.
Yes.
And right now, you need a permit, if I'm not mistaken, to even do your yard burning and burning. Is that correct?
That is correct. We dispatch for the, you mentioned Sedona, Copper Canyon, Verde Valley Fire, Cottonwood Fire, and Jerome Fire, and also the ambulance company, Clarkdale Police, Jerome Police, Cottonwood Police.
Boy, that's a lot, Marie.
We have a lot going on in there.
How do you guys keep all that straight?
Oh, it's we've got great people. That's what it is. But we do have an online burn permit system. It's vvburnpermits.org. And you just go on the website, you can request your burn permit, activate it, turn it off, update it, call our center if you have any questions. But we want people to take advantage of the good, calm days to go ahead and get that brush cleared away. They want the defensible space. We don't want any brush right up against homes, but we got to do so safely. You got to keep that burn pile reasonable and manageable, because those things can get away. We don't want to burn on any kind of windy days or dry days, and we want to get it done while we can. It's going to be.
It won't be long.
It won't be long, and we will not be able to burn it all.
And the goal is to have a very boring day in communications, I'm guessing.
It is the goal.
That is the goal. Be
Yes.
very bored. It's awesome. So we, on break, we had talked a little bit about fire, and the results of the fire is that scarred land.
Yes.
Which then adds to flooding potentials when monsoons come. And I believe the monsoons are scheduled for July is usually when it happens. And rumor is we're supposed to have a wetter than normal monsoon. So is flooding an issue for this area?
It is. It is definitely, and we saw that last monsoon. It really was a horrible flood season, and there's just nothing holding the dirt together, to put it in simplest terms, to keep it from just washing the topsoil and ash downstream. And we're in a valley.
Yeah, we're at the bottom of the valley.
Yes.
Yeah, so that water doesn't get absorbed. It just like slicks right across, fills up our river quickly, and we have flooding pretty bad. Well, we talked about the last thing, and we didn't talk about this. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but what kind of animal calls? And do we get a lot of snake bites in this area? Is there a lot of scorpion? What kind of calls do you guys get when it comes to being camping and outdoors in the Verde Valley? Do you get many of those here?
Occasionally, we occasionally will get, the snake on the porch, the snake that found its way into the garage, and stuff. Not a lot of snake bites, fortunately.
Good.
We've had a few over the years, but it's few and far between. Most people know that they're not to be handled.
So I'm assuming you guys dispatch our fire departments out to help with those?
We do. We dispatch the fire departments out, or our animal control officers to assist if they're available. And if they're not, then, and it's not a priority or safety issue, there are a number of private trappers and pest control services that can assist if it's just a nuisance type thing. But if it's presenting a risk, we want to get involved.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the reasons you would call 911. We've talked about some of the common calls here in Cottonwood. And I just want to back up because we kind of went over it quickly. So we call 911 for any emergencies. So again, you dispatch for both fire and PD in all of the valley?
All except the city of Sedona and the town of Camp Verde law enforcement.
Okay. So, but you do Sedona Fire.
We do.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibilities. So what kind of pressure is it being a communications specialist?
It's there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a expectation of the public to perform and make sure that we get the right help to the right location and give the instructions we need to give to help somebody through an emergency until responders arrive. So it sounds daunting.
It does. I'm not going to lie. It sounds very stressful to me.
Right. But the training is what makes it, I don't want to say robotic, but you refer back to your training and they develop a sense of muscle memory. So when a person calls and says, my spouse is not breathing,
right,
there are protocols. We kick right in to, okay, we're going to start CPR while my partner dispatches the paramedics, and we're going to do everything we can until the paramedics arrive to make sure this person has a chance.
So Marie, you bring up a good point before we talk too much more about the education, is that initial call. So someone who's having the worst day of their life and they call you guys, sometimes you guys ask a lot of questions.
We do.
What's that about?
We are not delaying the response by asking this information. We are making the response more efficient. We want to make sure not only we send them to the right location, we send the right equipment and the right number of personnel. If there is a house fire, we want to send the right firefighting resources and have those firefighters equipped to start fighting fire when they arrive. If it's a brush fire, it's different equipment, different trucks, and different number of personnel. So we want to really differentiate what we have. And they can plan their attack while they're en route. They can plan their actions and take the best course of action.
So you're like the conduit between the caller and the first responders, the firefighters.
Correct.
So you're helping them figure out before they can put any eyes on the scene on what they're going to do the minute they get there.
Absolutely. So a vehicle accident, you're involved and you're hurt. Why would I want to talk to you more about it? I'm in an accident, right?
Right.
But I need to know if the airbags were deployed. I need to know if there's any fuel leaking. I need to know what your injuries are. Is this going to warrant a helicopter? And we can get those things started as fast as possible if we know the extent of the injuries and the hazards on scene.
Yeah, minutes matter, I'm guessing.
They do, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you and your team are there answering the phone for us. So I do want to come back. We're always looking for a couple of great new communication specialists,
Yes.
dispatchers, to join our team. So I do want to talk about the training and how you might, if you're thinking about this as a field, a career, how you get into it. But we got to take one of those hard breaks again.
Okay.
So, but when we come back, we're going to talk to Marie Carpenter, our Comm Center Director, about what it takes to become a dispatcher for the city of Cottonwood.
There are people who struggle with addiction and homelessness. Sometimes it may feel like there is nothing we can do to help.
But there is. You can make a tax-deductible donation and help those in need transition away from homelessness.
When you give someone a handout, you could actually be supporting an addiction.
A better life starts with better health, especially for those living in the streets.
Support solutions, not addictions. You can make a difference. Visit cottonwoodcares.com.
Looking for a ride to Sedona? Hop on the new Verde shuttle at the Cottonwood Library and go everywhere you want to go in West Sedona, uptown, and south to Poco Diablo Resort. It's just that easy. Looking for a better way to commute between Cottonwood and Sedona? The Verde shuttle buses are brand new. A cool, clean, comfortable ride for only $2 each way or $3 for an all-day pass. It's just that easy. Check out details at verdeshuttle.com or ask Google Maps for transit directions. It's just that easy.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I am Ron Corbin, Cottonwood City Manager, and today's guest is Marie Carpenter, our Communications Center Director. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you, Ron.
So this has been very educational. It's probably one of my more favorite ones I've done for a while. I like learning. So we've learned a lot about the local calls and the services you provide. I am more and more impressed all the time with the breadth, the diversity of your calls, not just fire and police, but the Verde Valley. And so you've got your communication specialists have to know about Sedona, the county areas, and your partnership with, even though you don't even dispatch for the sheriff, you still partner with them, and you guys are going on calls together and stuff. So shout out to your team and handling the diversity and the working with people on their most difficult day. It's just a job I don't see myself ever being able to do. It seems like it would take that emotional toll. You said, though, it really comes back to training.
It does.
And trusting your training and relying on the tools provided to you. So how do you get trained?
Most of it is on-the-job training. Training program takes 6 months, a little bit more. Takes about 2 years, really, to get a dispatcher to a level where they're really, I wouldn't say solo competent, because they're solo competent after training, but they're really still learning and really honing in their skills for the first 2 years, and we never stop learning.
Right. I mean, because there's always a first time for first call, I'm guessing.
There
you
is.
just never know what you're going to get from medical emergencies to otherwise.
Absolutely, and the technology is changing rapidly as well.
So-
Text to 911, for example, that's a fairly new technology here.
So we have that here in the Verde Valley?
We have it throughout entire Yavapai County.
Really?
Yes.
We're a rural county.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. So how does that work? I can text you?
You absolutely can. Now, we tell people to call.
Okay.
Because it's more efficient.
Right.
To have that voice conversation. But if you need to text because of the circumstances you're in or limitations of your device being able to make a call because of signal strength, or if it's maybe you're nonverbal. We have an entire community of the deaf and hard of hearing that benefit from text to 911. Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry. You're not supposed to do that on the air. Can you edit that? Oh, wait, we're live. I guess that's not getting edited.
That's okay. It's allergy season.
It is allergy season. Well, that's so exciting that we have that kind of capability here
Yes.
in rural Arizona.
And you simply put 911 as the 2 when you text it, and then you put your message in just like you're texting a friend.
Wow.
And the 911 center will text back to you. Now, it's like any text conversation, it goes back and forth.
Right.
And there is time associated with that back and forth, but it is definitely an option and applicable in many cases.
So how reliable is the location finder on these cell phones? Can you, if I call on a cell phone and I can't figure out where I'm at, do you have any luck at all finding me?
Our centers had great success with it, as many PSAPs have and comm centers have, but it's not a perfect system. It's impacted by signal strength. It can be impacted by the atmospheric conditions and your location, or any obstacles in the way. So you're down in a canyon, it could be less reliable.
Right.
But the cell phone technology, getting into our mapping system, it's pretty reliable. And then we have over-the-top systems that allow us to go a little bit further, such as Rapid SOS and Rapid Deploy. There are 2 programs that allow us to use other technologies for location identification. So very helpful when you're near a Wi-Fi signal, or you're using a smart device or any kind of Bluetooth. That helps really enhance it. It does have its limitations in the rural areas, forest areas and
Right.
hiking trails.
So know where you're at so you can communicate that.
Yes.
But if you can't, then it sounds like we have several backup systems that will
We
try
do.
to help get us our fire or police to the right location.
Absolutely. And there is a website I would recommend folks go to. It's Rapid SOS. And there is a profile that a person can fill out that can tell us a little bit about you. So if there's a family member who's nonverbal, or there is a situation where you just want us to have that information ahead of time, and when I say ahead of time, first the 911 call is initiated and then the information is displayed, and that's the only way we can see that information. But you can put in medical history, gate codes, allergies, emergency contact information, physical address. So if you're calling from a wireless device, we can tie in that physical address to that device if that's filled out.
Wow.
So Rapid SOS, it's a great tool for the public.
And you said go online and fill that out. Is that on your website at the City of Cottonwood? Or?
It is. They can link to it from the City of Cottonwood website, or you can just do a Google search for Rapid SOS and scroll down for the profile that you would fill out, and it's a great tool, and it's completely secure, it's completely private, and only accessible when you call 911 from that device.
Awesome. So a couple more things I want to talk about. We're actually almost out of time. This just goes so fast. The first is, I know that we're always hiring for dispatchers.
Yes.
I hear there's an academy or something coming up.
There is. There is an 80-hour academy starting at Yavapai College in June, and it will be taught by members of the communications centers in Yavapai County Sheriff's Office, our center, and Sedona Camp Verde are also participating, and Prescott Regional Communications Center. The director there is actually taking the lead on this program, Jim DeLong, if you're familiar with him. He's doing a great job of getting this thing moving for us.
Well, we appreciate Yavapai College stepping up to the plate too to help host this. So any certain skill set, you said you get on-the-job training, but if you're good at, what can you be good at that might indicate you might be successful as a dispatcher? Is there anything, or is this just give it a try?
Well, if you're exploring options, I suggest you maybe take the class at Yavapai College. It gives some insight into whether or not it's a career for you. It's open to the public, and it's a great opportunity to explore. But if you're interested in a career that is challenging, rewarding, has its it has a place in the public safety system, they need us to do the job that we do, so they can, the first responders such as police officers, firefighters, paramedics can get to where they need to go. And the skill set that I would say is probably most important is to be able to multitask or switch task.
Right.
Where you're able to take lots of information in a short period of time and keep it sorted. But also the compartmentalization. Being able to understand that this incident is that person's emergency. You don't have to wear it, you don't have to own it, you don't have to live it. And it's hard to do, very hard to do, because we're all very compassionate, we're there to help people, and there are a lot of calls that it's hard not to separate yourself from and take emotionally and take it hard.
Yeah, as a city manager, I'm fortunate enough once in a while to get to go to an awards ceremony and hear about the great things that our dispatchers have done, because until the responder gets there, it's often the dispatcher is the only contact that person has. And I've heard the stories, and I'm always impressed at the professionalism and the dedication that our employees, and I'm assuming all dispatchers have on that. So the last thing as we wrap up is, in Cottonwood, we're fortunate. We also get to do some neat programs.
Yes.
We don't have a whole lot of time for details, but not only do you answer phones, but like you drive drones and negotiate. What's all that about?
The role of the dispatcher is evolving, and there are more skills that our dispatchers are developing. We have dispatchers who are negotiators. We have tactical dispatchers. They respond to scenes with the SWAT team. And actually record incidents on the SWAT team, a SWAT incident, as well as negotiate with person in crisis. We have wildland dispatch operators. We have a drone operator, and we even have a few that are critical incident stress management or debriefing, peer support. We just have a lot of stuff that we're really expanding our knowledge base on. It's needed, and it's a change in pace. It's a new skill set. Well,
this is awesome. Maria, I appreciate you coming over today.
Thank you.
So if you want to be a dispatcher, you call your office, maybe call the not 911, but call
Right.
the regular number. Look it up on our website, and I'm sure you guys would be happy to educate them about it. Check out Yavapai College upcoming course that starts in June.
In June, yes.
In June, so hurry up, get signed up for that class, and join our team.
Absolutely.
All right. So this has been Inside Cottonwood with Marie Carpenter, our Communications Center Director. And I'm Ron Corbin, your City Manager. Until next time, have a good day.